Today we're going to speak about inflammation. Now, we've heard of inflammation on the physical plane. Have we stopped to think about inflammation can be physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual? At the least. And if you add this to a compounding theory, you can see that it all adds up. Yes, inflammation has its place to ward off infection and disease, but that happens periodically and is not the state you want to be in constantly. The state that we are in constantly right now is fight and flight, which causes overstimulation, which then causes hormonal issues, which then causes imbalance in the weight. So it's very important to understand inflammation, and let's go through the inflammations one by one. You have physical inflammation. Now let's look at the aspects that give you physical inflammation. Food. Yes, food is per se inflammatory. That's why choosing the appropriate food for yourself is very important. Lack of movement, dead drinks, low frequency thoughts, low frequency emotions, all manifest physical inflammation. So it's important for us to have tools, and the best tool is meditation and movement patterns within your limitations to help you to reduce your physical inflammation. Mental inflammation. Mental inflammation is caused by stimulants, drugs, low frequency thoughts, the monkey mind running around the whole time, over information, over movement, lack of restful sleep, being in the fight flight mode, i.e., that means stressing about stress and not tackling the stress. Now, how often have we been stressed about something and it keeps going on and on and on, and the resolution might be in front of us, or the resolution might be as simple as simply writing it down and following the whole chain till you don't find a solution. Looking at emotional inflammation. Now, emotional inflammation is a big one. And it's a big one because emotions is what rules us. It can affect our mental balance. It can affect our physical balance. Even though all these inflammatory factors do combine, they all compound, emotional inflammation is, I would say, the biggest. We get stuck to them, we question them, we beat ourselves over them, then this causes more stress than the emotion itself. So, in saying that, let me share a story. And this time, my teacher has been my dad for this specific story. He put this fantastic example to me when I was a teenager. So, this happened many, many years back. When you get a slap, the physical pain subsides in some time, but the emotional slap remains much longer. We move through upset, anger, rebellion, sadness, so on and so forth. And it keeps going on and on. This example came about when I was a teenager and I used to love picking fights. Now, I am going to laugh and smirk when I share the story because when I look back, it's so unaware of me to be in that position, but that's okay. I have moved on from that. But I'm going to share the story with you anyway. So buckle up and listen to this story. So I used to love picking fights. So one day I was bored and decided to pick a fight with 20 people. I find this very funny because, as I shared with you, not five, not 10, but 20 people. I mean, you would really have to be a bit cuckoo to do that, or unaware, as I say it. So that's how blind and unaware I was. Anyway, as expected, I was surrounded by the group, and there was this one massive guy in the group, about 3 times my size. and about 2 times my height. And at that point, I was extremely fit, strong, and I was at the peak of my karate practice. And though my senseis, one of my senseis was my father, my dad, and my sensei, or Soshian as we call him, always educated me that karate is not about fighting. To the point where he said, if someone has a knife on your throat, run. Chuck the knife out and run. It's not about fighting. It only trains you to be strong so you can run when there's a problem. I should have heeded his advice at that point. But I had to go through this lesson to wake up. So the fight happened. We beat each other up. I obviously got beaten a bit more. But somehow, I was not that badly injured. Now, what happens next is even funnier. The fight consumed me for 1 month. I became bitter, questioned myself, my abilities. Really? I mean, all of this for like 10 minutes of a fight, and this went on for 1 month. So, what would one expect? I'm talking to myself now from these poor choices. Besides that, the fight was over, it was time to move on. But no, the emotion stayed with me for 1 month. I had anger, sadness, feeling bad for them, because that's my core emotion. I start feeling bad for other people. But this incident taught me many things. I evolved in my karate practice. I went deeper into yoga and started my journey of self development. So, when I look back, I've always used an incident to improve myself. But now I've become wiser, so I don't let an incident make me improve myself. I work on self improvement every day, and I get it right most of the times. But there are times I don't get it right, and that's okay. If I sit beating myself up about being imperfect, that's not growth. That's again getting stuck in the whole illusion and the monkey mind. So let's move on to spiritual inflammation. Being obsessed with the meaning of spirituality and not feeling it. This I call spiritual inflammation, because spirituality is nothing but the spirit to feel what you want to feel, to own the emotion you want, and the emotion that serves you. Going round and round intellectually rather than experientially will cause inflammation. For example, I tackle spiritual inflammation by creating compartments and boundaries for when I deliver a lecture like now. I'm coming from an intellectual space, but with aspects of spiritual experience and the spiritual space. So when I meditate or teach yoga, I come from a spiritual space. When I consult for life coaching, I come from experiential, spiritual, emotional, and spiritual places. So in this manner, it's important to create your zones and keep the boundaries supple. So not only are you aware of them, but also allow the possibility of flow between the boundaries. Remember, balance. It's all about balance. And balance will change for each individual individually. Just like you, I am still playing and experiencing the space. So all I can share is that it's fun and it's really rewarding. We are always going to be students all our lives. And the moment we understand that the solution lies within us. The fundamental base rules will help us to get the solution quicker. And nothing is more powerful than meditation and understanding yourself. So these were the 4 inflammatory aspects that I spoke about or shared with you. There are many more inflammatory aspects. I'm just discussing 4 at this point, okay? Because that's quite relevant for us. For example, like I keep saying, too much information, no good. Little information, good. You practice this, keep this as your boundary, as your base, and move from that. Now, a very, very important thing is adaptability. In today's day and age, if we don't adapt, you will find emotional, mental, spiritual, physical inflammation. It'll attack you and you'll be at the mercy of it. So, my question to you is, Why would you want to be at the mercy of any inflammation when you can adapt? Now, how to adapt? It's not difficult. If you don't adapt, you don't live. You simply survive. It's important to understand your fundamental base rules. I've shared all that with you, and I will be uploading the audio podcast very soon after the end of the 21 days. In the meantime, you can read the notes on the Facebook page of In Home Wellness, and the videos I keep taking down after a session because I'm editing them, and then I will reload them or upload them at the right time at the end of 21 days. So if you don't adapt, you don't live. You simply survive. It's important to understand your fundamental base rules in life. Based on that, have the ability to adapt. So be flexible, but still have the ability to feel grounded. Remember, we have 5 elements in our beings: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Like everything we have spoken about, this too is important to experience. All these emotions in balance, all these elements in balance, and adapt it to suit you. In today's environment, we are overstimulated with fire, air, and space. So it's important to find balance in earth and water. Now, earth is again meditation, sitting on the ground, and water, we all know, drinking fresh water, going for a swim when you can. If you can't swim, having a water massage, so taking water and massaging your body with it. Also sitting close to water, so maybe fill a bucket of water and sit next to it during the day. If you're sitting on a chair, take a small bucket or a small vessel of water and keep it under your chair. That'll just help you feel more water in the body. Remember, water is also the food and the liquids you eat and drink. So become aware of that and research it further. So how do we adapt? We all know adaptability is important, but how do we adapt? Just like you train your body to be flexible, train the mind to be flexible, or as it's called, brain plasticity, also known as neuroplasticity. There's a lot of information online. Go read some and then process what's important for you. Neuroplasticity is a term that refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt as a result of experience. So, the experience should give you the power to adapt rather than looking at that experience as being a negative or a low frequency. No, I'm not saying that every experience will be high frequency, but once again, not getting stuck to that experience, not getting stuck to that low frequency, rather looking at it as a buffet, and choosing the foods or the emotions or the elements you want. There's a fantastic meditation which I will share with you at the end of the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21. So we got 5 days after this. So the last 3 days will be meditation focused. The meditation is called the buffet meditation. So we use the analogy of a buffet with different foods and make choices of the foods that we want from the buffet. Connected to the emotion and experiences, and use that analogy to choose the emotion and experiences that serve us. It's very important to exercise our choice, but also allow the possibility that the universe looks after us. The most important thing is to have faith and belief that everything that you're going through is what you have asked for. Now, some might say, no, I've asked for something else, but something else is happening. My question is, why would the universe choose you differently to choose me? There is no reason for that. The reason is simply you need to introspect and find out why you are not getting what you're asking for. Is it because you're self-sabotaging? Is it because you're not adapting to what is required? For example, you can't change a situation or somebody else, but you can only change the way you adapt to it. So maybe it's a matter of understanding that there's a law of nature, which means when you create an intention for yourself, the intention must be around you and how you adapt or how you handle what is happening in and around you. You can't control what happens around you, but you can control how you react or better respond to it. That is the key in understanding your intentions, both consciously and subconsciously. Now, how do you understand your subconscious state? By meditation. What kind of meditation? I have a meditation known as a super conscious meditation, which I will share with you again in those last 3 days. So 19, 20, 21. That is the quickest and easiest way of moving into your head, moving into the brain, moving into the subconscious, and working through the patterns that don't serve you and creating the patterns that serve you. For the ones who want to go on to my YouTube channel, it's called bodygururetreats.com.au. Go ahead. There are some meditations I've put up there. So download what you can. The YouTube channel is still being uploaded or upgraded. So bear with what you have. But the information is enough for you to get started. I hope you have had fun listening to what I've shared with you as much as I have shared bringing it to you. And remember the lesson for today and for every day of your life. Exercise your choice, but also allow the possibility that the universe looks after us. Be smart, be aware, and learn from other people's mistakes, but at the same time, create your own experiences